I'm thinking, oh my God, a girl actually likes me. I was like blown away instantly. I was going to betray my entire family that I grew up with. I was gonna leave everyone and just go with her. He goes, I'm telling you, this is not your girlfriend. Inside, my heart's beating so goddamn fast. She hung up the phone. And I'm like, what the hell? There was silence. She hung up on me. She actually saved my life. February the 14th, the day I used to hate in my life when I was at school. The reason I hated it is because I never had a girlfriend in my life. I was so shy. I couldn't talk to girls. I liked girls, but I couldn't talk to them. So I never, ever had a girlfriend. And every time February the 14th came, it was like, okay, this is another dreaded year, Valentine's Day, that I don't have a girlfriend. And on this day, when I was 18, I get this Valentine's card. And I couldn't believe it. My name was on the envelope, and it was sitting on my desk. And when I opened it, I'm thinking, Valentine's card? Who would have sent me this card? And it was nicely written, and right at the bottom it said anonymous. And I'm thinking, man, this has gotta be a joke. I'm thinking, why didn't this person write their name? And instantly I thought, you know what, I bet it's the guys. Some guys playing a joke on me, right? Some guy sent me a Valentine's card and put anonymous underneath it as a joke. So on one side of my mind, I'm thinking, gotta be a guy, man, this is embarrassing. And on the other side of my mind, I'm thinking, man, it could be a girl. Right? So I'm thinking, I gotta find out who this is. This could be legit. So I went to a girl and I said to her, I says, can I ask you a question? I says, do you know whose handwriting this is? She looked at it. She goes, no, I don't know who this is. I says, okay. So then I went to another girl and she didn't know. And I went to this third girl and I showed her the card. I says, do you know who would have written this card? Do you recognize this handwriting? She looks at the card. Then she looks at me and she looks right in my eyes and she says to me, you're stupid. And then she smiled and walked off. And I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, why did she say that? And then as she's walking away, she turns around and she smiles again. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it was her. She wrote the card. And I'm thinking, oh my God, a girl actually likes me. I was like blown away that it was this girl actually wrote this card. Man, that's probably one of the greatest days of my life. I'm thinking to myself, this is incredible. Instantly in my head, I'm thinking, finally, I got a girlfriend. It only took me 18 years, but I finally got a girlfriend. And would you believe? She was great. Not only was she beautiful, every day we'd spend so many hours together in the library. We'd be sitting there with all our books out. She'd be studying and I'd be studying her. I'd be sitting there just looking at her. I'm not studying. I got all my books there. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I got a girlfriend. I felt so good. I couldn't believe it. Every day I'd be thinking, man, I'm gonna frame this Valentine's card for the rest of my life. And we started building a relationship. Day 2, day 3, day 4. And all of a sudden, I think it was like the day 5th, she gives me a picture of her and her sister. And man, I kept it on me every day. I thought, she's beautiful. And then all of a sudden, it was now day 7. And I went to this class. I think it was like a maths class. And a couple of my buddies were there. And one of my buddies says to me, he goes, Terry, he says, you got a girlfriend? And I sort of lifted up my chest and I said, of course I have a girlfriend. Doesn't everybody have a girlfriend at this age? I was like, yes, of course, I finally can say it. And he looked at me and he goes, yeah, you got a girlfriend? I said, yeah. You know what? I have a picture of her. And I took out the picture. And you know how parents love to show their kids? Well, man, I'm thinking, finally got a picture of my girlfriend. Why wouldn't I show it? She's beautiful. So I took out the picture and I said, there she is. Look, he's looking at the picture and he's looking at me and he says, that ain't your girlfriend. I'm thinking, she is, man. He's looking. This is not your girlfriend. And I thought, she's good looking, isn't she? She is. And then all of a sudden, I'm looking at his face and his demeanor on his face completely changed. And he wasn't smiling anymore. He's looking at the picture and he's looking at me and he goes, I'm telling you, this is not your girlfriend. And now it's like I'm getting like a little pissed. I'm going, what are you saying this for, man? I'm telling you, I gave you a picture of her. He goes, I'm telling you, this is not your girlfriend. I said, why are you saying this? Because I'm ready to punch his lights out. He goes, this is not your girlfriend. I said, why are you saying this? He goes, because I was at her wedding. I'm thinking, what? He goes, yeah, man. She's married. I was there. I'm thinking like, how could she be married? She's 18. He goes, I'm telling you, she's married. And man, my heart was racing like crazy. When I got home that day, I went straight to the phone and I picked it up. I phoned her and I said, hey, how's it going? And we're just talking a bit. And then I said to her, I said, I met this guy and he said to me that he said he was at your wedding. And as soon as I said that, she hung up the phone. And I'm like, what the hell? There was silence. All I heard was, she hung up on me. And I'm thinking, what the hell? Is this true? And man, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. And the next day, I jumped into my dad's car. I took the car. I was so pissed. I'm speeding down the road, finally get to the college. And I'm sitting outside the college and I'm waiting for her to get off the bus and show up. And when she does, I drove right up to her, opened the door and I said, get in. She gets in the car and I just took off. Then I parked it and I said, what is going on? What do you mean you're married? And then I looked at her. Holy cow. The tears started coming down her face. She was crying so much. And I'm looking at her, I'm going, what is going on? And she's literally shaking. She's literally dying. All the tears coming down. And I'm going, what's the matter? She goes, it's true. I'm married. She goes, I was forced into this marriage. I don't even like the guy. He doesn't even like me. It was my birthday just recently and he didn't even say happy birthday. We don't even sleep in the same room. And I'm like sitting there going, I don't even believe what I'm hearing. All I heard was this girl was just dying. And I looked at her and I just wanted to fix the situation. And in my head, I'm thinking, you're so lucky that you found me because I'm like your knight in shining armor. I'm gonna save you. Because, in my head, I'm thinking, I don't even know what I want to do with my life. I know I'm going to fail my A-levels. I'm going to fail all my exams because I don't want to go that route. I don't know what I want to do with my life. And then all of a sudden, she says to me that she's forced into this marriage. And I'm looking at her, I'm going, I'm going to save you. I said, you can count on me. I'm going to leave my family and I'm going to take you away from that guy, from that marriage that's made you so heartbroken. I says, you and me, we're just going to elope. We're going to go to Wales. We're going to get a caravan and nobody's going to know that we're there. We're just going to go away and we're going to live happily ever after. And she sort of looked at me. Her face was like completely blank. I don't know what she was thinking, but she's probably thinking, what the hell did you just say? And in my heart, I was so committed. It's incredible that I was 18 years of age and like that, falling in love with this girl, seeing how vulnerable and how hurt and heartbroken she was. Instantly, I was going to betray my entire family that I grew up with. I didn't care what my mom would have thought. I didn't care what my dad would have thought. My brothers, my sisters, I was going to leave everyone and just go with her because when I looked at her broken heart, I just wanted to save her. So I made the offer. I said, so what do you want to do? She goes, I don't know. And I'm thinking, okay, you know what? It was a good offer. The next day, she's going to accept it. Well, the next day, I went to college. Couldn't find her anywhere. Phoned her, never picked up the phone. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. I'm thinking, where the hell did she go? Gone. This girl disappeared. I'm thinking, did somebody kill her? Then eventually, finally, I find her in the library. And I said, what's going on? And she looked at me and she goes, it's over. I said, what do you mean? She goes, I've made my decision. She goes, I was forced into this marriage. And if I leave the guy, my family's going to come after you and me. And she said, I've decided that if this is how I'm gonna die in this relationship, then so be it. I'm gonna stay. And man, when she said that to me, because then she didn't answer any of my phone calls, she disappeared. It was like she did a cold turkey and she just ghosted me in every way. Man, I didn't know where she lived. I only knew her for a week, but I fell in love with her. Probably because I was so desperate because I never had a girlfriend. And finally I fell in love with this girl who gave me a little bit of attention, but she broke my heart. And I'm sitting there every day upstairs in my room and I'm like dying. I couldn't do any of my studying. I was just thinking, I can't get over this girl. How can she do this to me? I'm listening to romantic music, trying to figure out where does she live? How do I find her? And I'm driving around all over the streets thinking one day I'm gonna find her. I never did find her, but I'm telling you, it really hurt. The pain that I felt was so bad. I never felt like that in my entire life. I thought I was gonna die. And every day, that pain, that was in February. I knew that I had my A-level exams in May and June. And with that feeling, nothing was going to work. There was no way I was going to pass any of those exams. That's why I never studied. I knew I was going to fail them when I met her. But then something incredible happened. Absolutely incredible. After she dumped me, I failed everything. I told my dad, I says, I don't know what I want to do with my life. So let me figure this out. I want to go on a holiday and I want to go to Canada and I want to go see my brother and spend 2 to 3 months in Canada. And then when I come back from Canada, then I'll give you my answer of what I want to do with my life. And he said, okay, go. So I went to Canada. When I went there, on the very last week, would you believe? I met a girl. It was like a gift from God. Unbelievable. The first time I saw her, before I even talked to her, I knew this was going to be my wife. But after that 1 week, I had to leave Canada and go back to England. So I only knew her for 1 week, just like the first girl. And then when I left in September, I went back to England and the only communication we had was through letters. So for the next 8 months, I wrote a letter. Literally every other day, I'd write a letter. And that was our communication until I went back to Canada after 8 months and actually married her. So what am I trying to tell you here? What I'm trying to tell you is if you don't have a purpose in your life, if you don't know where you're going, things are going to come in your life that are going to take you in directions that could really mess up your life. And thank God that girl did not take me up on the offer of running away with her because we had no education. We had no money. We had no job. We had no place to stay. How were we going to survive? We had no family support. We were going to take off together. For what? For how long? A week? Until our money ran out? And then it would have all been over. And we would have come right back to our own families. So she saved my ass by refusing the offer of running away with her. Now I'm thinking, I would have dumped my own mother and father. Left my brothers and sisters. What kind of person are you, man? I was completely blindsided. But I had nothing there, no relationships, nothing worthwhile. Until years later, you realize you did, but your head wasn't screwed on right. And so when I met my wife, things were slightly different. Even though I had the exact same feeling of that intensity of attraction, the dynamics around it were different. All of a sudden now, it was like I had my family right there. She had her family. We had a future. We could see that we could work together with my brother in businesses. And all of a sudden, even though it felt like the same to an outsider, they may look at that and go, yeah, but you fell in love with that girl when you were desperate. Now you fell in love with this girl because you were desperate. So what's the difference? Well, the first one I would say I was desperate, but I was in it to save her because maybe I wouldn't have fallen in love with her if she didn't show me her vulnerability, show me that she was brokenhearted. But the second one, she never said a word to me. I heard a voice in my head saying, that's your wife. So it wasn't like we talked or she said anything to me. It was like, it looked like the same situation, but it wasn't. But it was based on a foundation of everything was in the place for it to actually work out. Even though I remember when she told her parents, I want to marry this guy, her mother said to her, okay, so this guy that you want to marry, what degree does he have? She goes, he doesn't have any education. Okay, what job does he have? He don't have a job. Okay, what money does he have? He don't have any money. And her mom was looking at her like, why the hell would you want to marry this guy? Right? I had nothing. The only thing that changed their mind was the environment. My family dynamics gave me the credibility for them to say, okay, we'll take a gamble on this guy because of his parents and his family. Whereas a few months earlier, I was ready to dump that family. Like, I'm out of here. But now it was the only thing that allowed me to have the credibility to marry this girl. So the point here is be real careful what you think is important and what's not important. And me at that age, I couldn't see how important my family was because I was infatuated with this girl. She actually saved my life, saved my future, and caused me to go to Canada and find this special girl who became my wife. And now we've been married for 38 years. And we have 2 sons. Thank God she turned me down. Thank God she ghosted me. Thank God she broke my heart and cut it off because I realized there was something better real soon after that happened.